We also have some pictures of your ship, the Hawgood.
Yeah.
So, just gonna show these now. That was out of the Marine Review of the next year. Okay, that's the Hawgood.
That's the Hawgood?
Yeah, loaded up.
Yeah. That's loaded.
I didn't think it was that long.
It's a big ship.
Hmm.
This would have been right up in the pilot house, the wheelhouse up there. That's your station.
What?
I said that was your station in the pilot house, the wheelhouse. Just
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was your station up in the pilot house,
Oh, yeah.
am I speaking maybe too loud?
perhaps.
Okay,
Some voices carry, you can hear mine.
I'll let you translate for us then.
Not above, below. That's the way it was, right there.
Look at the smoke.
There's the lifeline.
Tell him that's a picture of it on the beach.
That's a picture of it on the beach.
That.
Mm-hmm. On the beach.
Hmm.
You can see the waves and the anchor just kind of hanging there. This is another ship, but you might ask him, did his
Hmm.
have ice on it like that?
Did your ship have ice on it like that?
There was no ice on it.
The Hawgood sailed until the 1950s, and his last name was the Pentecost Mitchell, and that's what she looked like in her last years.
That's what your ship looked like the last year she sailed.
The what?
That's what your ship looked like the last year she sailed.
The last year
Mhm.
she sailed,
1950s.
In the 1950s.
1950.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sailed a long time after that.
So the structure wasn't damaged any.
No, they
They
changed.
changed it all around.
Yeah, they did. They put a, even lengthened it somewhat. Put a plug in the middle.
Hmm.
Oh.
Now here's some of the other ships. That's the Wexford.
That's the Wexford.
The what?
The Wexford.
Wexford.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's east of Harbor Beach.
And that's the
That's the
price.
Hawgood.
Well, that's closer. That's the price.
That's the price.
The price?
Is that the one that sank?
Right.
Yeah, that's the price, the one that sank.
Oh,
Charles S. Price. Charles something. Price.
Charles.
that's the one that come out into the storm.
That's the one that sank.
I thought that man was crazy, the captain. Hmm. That's the price upside down. Looks like it.
Mhm.
Ah,
That was the Scott.
And that was the Scott.
huh?
That was the Scott. That ship.
Oh, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Can't see it very well, but that's the Argus.
That's the Argus.
the what?
Argus. That's the Argus.
And that her sister ship, the Hydrus, they both sank.
And that's the Hydrus.
The what?
The Hydrus. They both of them sank.
Ah,
And that one there was called the Carruthers. It also sank. That was the biggest one on the lakes then.
That was the biggest ship on the lakes then. The Argus, and it sank.
August.
Argus.
This one right here is the Carruthers.
Oh, this is the Carruthers, the largest lake, the largest ship on the lake
Oh.
at that time.
Huh?
At that time, that was the largest ship,
Huh. Ah.
but it sank, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
sank off of Harbor Beach too.
That one sank off of Harbor Beach.
You want
Sank off Harbor Beach.
sank?
Off Harbor Beach.
Oh,
Have they found it or have they?
Yeah, it was found in 1986. And this is the one we're doing a program on. That's the Regina.
that looks like the Regina.
That's right. That's what it is.
I mean,
Well, that wasn't as long as the others then,
No,
was
it
it?
was 250 feet.
Regina.
Not a very good picture. That's what an artist thought she looked like in the storm. You might ask him, does that remind him of his trip at all?
Does that remind you of your trip on the storm that day? That's what an artist thinks it looked like, a ship looked like.
Yeah. Oh, it just picked that water right up and up in the air.
That's some of the wreckage that came ashore. This right here is the captain on the right of the Regina. And I just threw some of these things in here. He had a diary in his pocket. When he washed ashore about 10 months later, it was still in his pocket, it was still readable. But there's nothing in there, of course, about the storm.
He didn't have time.
You're right. But that's the bell of the Regina, when they found her underwater.
Did they bring it? They brought it up.
That has been,
That's
you've
the
probably
one.
seen it in the museum.
That's the one in the museum there.
Right.
There was nobody around to tell me what was up there. I just had to go along and figure it out for myself. And I wanted to get up there when he was up there, you know, and explain things and hear their talk. But I didn't get up there that soon. I was held up down below.
That's the letters on the bow of the ship, underwater.
That's the waters on the bow of the ship underwater. That's the
Regina.
Down underneath.
Yeah. Down in Davy Jones's locker.
That's right. This is what she looks like today, upside down.
That's what it looks like today, upside down, down in the bottom.
Oh. But what broke it up?
We think hitting the bottom did.
There was no other ship that it collided with.
They think when it hit the bottom of the lake, it broke up. It could have.
I didn't see no ships that would do it.
She was at anchor when she sank. Am I telling that?
It was at anchor when it sank.
Huh?
It was at anchor when it sank. How wonderful.
In fact, there's one of the anchors. It doesn't look real good. The other one's run out. It's buried deep in the sand. These are just a few things that were found there. Those are bottles of ketchup. This is part of the Regina's cargo. And those are bottles of ketchup with the ketchup still in them.
What kind of a top do they have? You can't see, can you?
It's just pretty much like they use today.
Is it?
Yeah. Although some of the bottles are corked. Like these are cases of canned goods. Lots of champagne. Lots and lots of champagne.
That's what they were loaded, carrying, wasn't it? Or was that just...
Yeah, there were a lot of Canadians that had a poor winter. Some bowls.
Now look, this one here is something like the one they gave him.
Probably is. That's how they found them.
It has a chunk out of it.
And that's the Chadburn there. You notice it says the engines are on stop.
That's the Chadburn.
Hmm.
That's the Chadburn on the Regina. See where they,
The engine room telegraph.
Oh, the Chadburn.
yes. See where the instruments or whatever it is on there?
Yeah,
Yeah, the engine will stop.
Chadburn, that's the speed.
Mm-hmm. It's on stop.
Uh-huh.
It's the porthole. And the lamp.
Well, that's a lamp.
The what?
Lamp.
There's what's left of the ship's wheel.
That's what's left of the ship's wheel.
What?
What is left of the ship's wheel.
Of the ship's
Wheel.
wheel. Hmm.
Well, that's another Chadburn, but the glass is broken out of it.
The glass is broken out of that Chadburn.
And that was where the compass was on the back of the ship.
That's where the compass was.
And that's just the door. Doesn't show much, but if you go inside, that's the electrical panel, electrical switches.
That door just before led into this room where all of those electrical switches were on the panel.
Hmm.
And that's looking in the crew's quarter, that black thing. It doesn't show up real good, but that's a boot.
A boot. That black thing is a boot. This is in the what?
In the crew's, in the crew's quarters.
This is in the crew's quarters.
Whose quarters?
The
Crew.
The crew.
Oh, the crew.
That black thing there is a boot.
Yeah.
And that's, we're not sure, that's tar. You might ask him, did they ever line this inside of the ship with tar?
Did they ever line the inside of a ship with tar?
Huh?
Did they ever line the inside of the ship with tar? Well, that is tar.
Uh-uh.
See, that was
Nope.
one guess put forward.
Paint was the only thing. Never tar.
Well, where would they use the tar? Where would it come from?
Tar.
That's
Must have been carrying it for something.
tar.
Oh.
Were they carrying it?
They never used tar inside.
Yeah, you tell the story just like you did the other time, in your own words,
Yeah.
just like you did the other time.
Tell the story
Mm-hmm.
as near as I can remember.
Yes.
I was a wheelsman on the H.B. Hogwood. And on November 9th, 1913, on a Sunday morning, we come out of Port Huron, entering Lake Huron, upbound. The night was very dark, very scary, spooky looking. A night like I've never seen before. And after we get out to the lightship, a watchman come into the pilot house and said to me, "That is, do you see that ship there?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "That's the Regina, a Canadian ship." I said, "Oh." I said, "Looks like I'm going to have company going up the lake. He says, yeah. The wind was kind of brisk, very spooky looking, just like you wanted to hide yourself. And going up the lake, I don't know just how far, but when we got up to Harbor Beach, I looked to the east. I saw a ship there. Come to find out, that was the Wexford, a Canadian ship. So I don't know just how far we went past Harbor Beach, but not too far. The captain called down. He says, we've got to turn around and go back. Okay. He says, hard a port. I said, hard a port, sir. I was happy. We turned around. I said, goodbye, Regina. And there, just ahead of us, the seas was coming out of Saginaw Bay. It looked like mountains, and I was awfully glad we turned around. The Regina was getting close to the seas, so she must have turned around also. Come back, we made good time. We got somewhere around, Lexington, I would say. White Rock, when it started to snow. And every few minutes the wind would increase. So did the snow increase. And it snowed hard enough, blowed hard enough, that it would just about tear the skin off of you. So, coming down, we got somewhere around White Rock, I would say. Yeah, around White Rock. Port Sand Lake. And there's a blinding snow, about an 85, 90-mile wind. And I looked up ahead, and here comes a ship. What in the world is the matter with that captain? He must be crazy coming out into the storm like this. A blinding snow, about a 90-mile wind. What in the world is he doing? What one is it? We got abreast of it. We were close enough that we could see the name, the Charles S. Price. Oh, that man is crazy. We went on a little further, just nicely got by. I looked up ahead, and there comes another one. What in the world is the matter with that guy? Them captains must be crazy. coming out into a blizzard like this, a blinding snow, a 90-mile wind. Wowie. But the captain, our captain, called down and he said, we have to turn around and go back up into the deep waters. That's when I got scared. Oh, was I scared. He said, hard aport, sir. I called up, I said, hard aport, sir. Something told me to don't go into the deep waters. Throw your ship out of control. It just sounded like somebody was standing alongside of me and telling me that. We got into the trough of the sea and we rolled so hard that the water even splashed against the pilot house door. So he said, drop the anchor to turn it around. He dropped the anchor and she headed into the wind. The captain says, head her into the wind. I said, head her into the wind. So that's where I headed. He said, pull up the anchor. And something kept telling me, don't go out into the deep. He said, throw your ship out of control. And he no more and got the anchor pulled up. And I gave her a port wheel. Threw it out of control. And I called up and I said, hard or starboard, sir. The captain says, port, port. I had port wheel on it. He didn't know that. I put her amidship, then I gave her a port wheel. He says, drop the anchor. Now, instead of telling me to head her into the wind, he said, drop the other anchor. That made me happy. When he dropped the other anchor, I knew then that the captain gave up trying to go out into the deep. So when he dropped the other anchor, we just laid there and pounded. And it didn't roll so bad. But we did go up and down, up and down. It ain't so bad rolling. And we just laid there pounding. That was about 5 o'clock that night. And about 11:15, she hit bottom. And she hit 3 times. And the 3rd time she hit, she laid as solid as a rock. We didn't know where we were, but we were on the beach somewheres. Next morning, daylight, found out we was about 3 miles east of Point Edward on the Canadian shore. And there we laid for about a week before we got pulled off. We had one propeller left. one blade, good blade on the propeller. Pulled into Port Huron, got repaired, and I was going to quit. And the captain come to me and he says, no, he says, if you quit, I have to lay her up because you're the only wheelsman I've got. But he says, if you promise to go, stay, he says, I'll promise you that I'll never take a chance. So I said, okay. I made 2 more trips on her after that. Later up in Port Huron, Buffalo. And that was it.
Okay. Could you ask a couple questions for me?
Yeah.
Would you ask him if when he was coming up the lake out of Port Huron to Harbor Beach, was the wind just blowing steadily or was it increasing? How was the wind coming out of Port Huron?
Gusty like.
Yeah.
As you was coming up from Port
Port Huron.
Huron, was the wind steady or was it gusty?
It seems like the wind come up in gusts, and every gust of wind would increase the speed of the wind. Every few minutes, be a gust of wind come up. The wind would blow just that much harder. But it never died down. Then there would be another gust of wind come, stay right there, and never die down. Pretty soon there'd be another gust of wind come, increase the speed of the wind every few minutes until it got up to about 90 miles an hour. And I think the worst storm was between 11 and 1 that night.
Would you ask him when he last saw the Regina, when he turned around, did he think that they had much of a chance, or when he left the Regina, did he think he was going to see it for the last time?
When you saw the Regina the last time and you turned around, did you think you'd ever see the Regina again? Right?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you think about it?
The Regina was going up the lake and we were going down the lake.
Mm-hmm.
We passed both of them. The Regina, the Isaac M. Scott. We were the last to see them. Never heard of them before or after. Just like the Waxford. On the way back, I looked for the Waxford and I couldn't see it, not a sign of it. So it must have went down into the Davy Jones's locker. Oh, them seas was like mountains. And I know it didn't get out of sight. It must have went down. Because the wind was so strong.
Would you ask him again what he said when he turned around? When the captain gave the order to turn around and can't come back?
What did you say when the captain told you to turn around?
To turn around, go back up the lake?
No, to come back down to Port Huron.
Come back down to Port Huron.
Going down to Port Huron. When we went to turn around, go back up the lake, that's when I gained it.
Yeah, but when you turned around to come back down.
And when he said hard a port to go back up the lake, that's when something told me to throw the ship out of control. And I did. And that's where I gained. That's where I won the battle. Because the captain gave up going back up the lake. He just simply gave up.
Was where
And I won the battle.
was the captain out in the weather where he was?
Was the captain out in the weather, or was he in the
He was up above me in the pilot house.
protected?
Yeah,
But he could see the waves.
yeah. But he couldn't see me. I was below. And that's where I threw the ship out of control. I only had to do it once to make him give up going out into the deep. Otherwise, if we'd go out into the deep, we would probably end up into the Davy Jones's locker like all the rest of them did. And it seems like a voice told me to throw that ship out of control. I don't know why.
Well, you're here.
And when I threw it out of control, that's when the captain gave up. And that made me happy. When he dropped that other anchor.
We might ask him, was the only damage to the Hoggood the propeller, or was something else?
Was the only damage to the Hoggood the propeller?
None. It punctured the pipe, the sounding pipes through the deck about 4 inches. That made a dent in the bottom, but it never sprung a leak. They made no damage. Nobody hurt, no nothing. That's all they'd done is just punch the bottom up. It never leaked, so we made 2 more trips on it after that.
You might ask him, were the seas the roughest going into Saginaw Bay, or were they rougher when he was coming south, coming back to Port Huron?
Were the seas the roughest as you was going into Saginaw Bay, or were they rougher?
The one,
The seas, the roughest going into Saginaw Bay, are coming down to Port Huron. Where were they the roughest?
the Waxford,
Where were the waves the roughest?
the
Where were the waves the roughest going into Saginaw Bay?
coming out of Saginaw Bay. Oh, the seas coming out of Saginaw Bay, they look like mountains. Oh, we didn't dare go into them. If we'd ever get out of control, no telling. So that's when we turned around. And yeah. What you call it, turned around and must have turned around.
The Regina?
The Regina must have turned around before it hit the Saginaw Bay.
But it was still ahead of him when they turned around, though.
It was still ahead of you when it turned around.
Or when he turned around, the Regina was still going into the bay.
When you turned around, the Regina was still going into the bay.
Did what?
When you turned around, the Regina was still going into the bay.
Yeah. She was still headed into the bay. We turned around and I said, "Goodbye, Regina." But I don't think she went very far. because them seas was coming out of there like mountains. And never wanted to see them like that again. Oh. Snowing.
I've been watching it coming. There's our snowstorm.
When it started snowing, how far could he see from the pilot house?
And that morning there, I've never seen a morning like that before. Spooky, scary, heavy overcast, black looking. Never seen it before.
Did he think? Ask him. Did he think his captain was crazy to even leave that morning?
Did you think your captain was crazy to even leave that morning?
The what?
Did you think your captain was crazy to even leave that morning?
Yeah.
And the wave and the deafening scream of the storm. Many iron boats rolled in the crashing gale far off of the Michigan shore. Oh, the weary men held fast to the rail through the worst storm ever seen. Many ships were lost by the hurricane winds in the gale of 1913.
The great storm began